Guys, Joel again, and what I thought I'd do today is just show you one of the items I got in the job lot, and quite obviously it's a Sega Saturn. But the problem with this is it's not reading any of the discs that I put into it. As you can tell on the surface there, it's really dirty and grimy. It's going to need taking apart and just completely stripping down and washing with soap and water. Doesn't appear to have any deep scratches or anything, so it should come up okay, but what we need to do first of all is to get that disc working. Now if I hit the reset button here, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. In fact, it's not even trying to spin. I don't think you can hear that, but basically it's trying to spin, but it's actually not being able to read it at all. And this actually can happen quite often with Sega Saturns. This is probably why this was just sort of dumped in with the other lot of items. And what's happened is this spindle here has been pushed down so it's flush with the laser unit. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to take the top off, probably clean up the laser as well with a little bit of alcohol and a cotton bud, and we're just going to have to pull this spindle up so it raises just above this black area here. So I'll stop the video now and I'll take it apart and I'll show you what you need to do. Okay, so I don't know how much of this you can actually see here, but there's some really nice build up of fluff on the back there. It's disgusting. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to clean all this up, and like I say, I'm going to have to put a bit of alcohol in a swab or a little cotton bud and just clean out that lens area there. But the first thing I've got to do is take this shroud off, and hopefully then I can get to this to lift it up. So I just unclip it like this. Should be another one around here. There we go. That's disgusting. And there we go, there's our spindle. Now what probably I mean, this probably isn't the best way to do it, but generally what I tend to do is I'll get a pair of pliers or something and put them under there and just wiggle it a little bit so it just slips up the spindle, because these are usually on there really good, because obviously they don't want them sort of slipping off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to use these just to put it under there, put my finger on top so it doesn't move up too much, and just turn it slightly, and there we go. That's lifted it up probably just about enough. Yeah, that's just above that little area there. So if I pop this back on, oh, that's not quite enough. Possibly just a little bit more. It's probably the best way to do it, just to put the shroud back on and then just see if it's got enough clearance for the disc to spin properly. Okay, right, that should definitely be enough now. So I'll put this back on, clip that back down, and yeah, just enough clearance there. Okay, so now I'm just going to put this back together and test that out. Okay, so having put it back together, the disc now does spin freely, so that's definitely an improvement, but it still doesn't seem to be reading the disc properly. And if I just turn it on here, don't know if you can hear it. Let me just get out of this menu. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. Okay, so off it goes. If you hear it, that doesn't sound too good. So it's still having a bit of trouble reading it. And in fact, it's just sitting at the, there you go. Should say disc not suitable for this system. Well, once it gets to the point where it gives up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take it apart again, and I'm going to have a little adjust of that laser, and hopefully I'll be able to show you how to do that as well. Okay, so I've taken the top off, and basically what we want to do here is we want to adjust the laser so that there's less resistance on the laser diode, so that it's stronger, and hopefully we'll be able to read the disc a little bit easier. And what we need to look at is this little potentiometer here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to adjust that until we get a bit more strength on the laser there. We're going to use a multimeter though, because we don't want to adjust it too much, because too much of an adjustment is either going to burn it out straight away, or you could be adjusting in the wrong way and it will create more resistance, which will result in a weaker laser, and that's definitely not what we want. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to have to remove this laser unit from the drive, because otherwise I won't be able to get to the other side of that, the other leg of that potentiometer, so I can measure the resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this clip over up here and slide out this rail that it travels along, put it out just like that, and then hopefully we'll be able to quite easily just pull the laser unit out like that. If I can get it so that it just sort of sits there on its own. Okay. Now it's got a leg on either side, and you're going to want to measure the resistance across these two legs. If I can. It's a little bit tricky. Right. Want to go to the the most sensitive setting you can on the multimeter. Okay, so that's reading 727 ohms. So unfortunately I don't know if there's a way I can just rest them there. No. Okay, what I'll need to do though, I'll get my screwdriver and I'll just give this a small turn anti-clockwise. Not that screwdriver because that doesn't fit. Here's this one. Okay, so we've given that a small turn, very small turn anti-clockwise. Right, and that's now reading 687, and that may well be enough, but I think what I'll do is I'll just try and turn it down slightly more. We don't really want to go below 650. Now this will decrease the life of the laser, but the fact is that if it's not working anymore at the current setting, then there's really not much left that you can do but to increase the power to the laser, so you'll get that a little bit more time where it'll be working. So I'll slide this back in here. Alright, that's in there quite nicely. And now I'm going to take it back over to the other side of the room and see if we've got it working. Okay, so I've put it back together and I've given it a little bit of a clean. I haven't taken it apart properly to put it in the sink with some soapy water just yet, but I've changed the internal battery in it as well, because that was dead. So every time it came on, it was asking me what language I wanted and to set the time and date, but it won't do that now. So just close the lid, turn it on, and hopefully go on. Yeah, there we go. So it turns out that's all it needed. Now sometimes, unfortunately, doing the adjustments of the laser doesn't always fix it, and that really isn't something that can be helped, and it's kind of hard to get hold of a replacement laser for it as well. If you do happen to have one though where the laser does need replacing, I can tell you that it's a JVC laser, but I've not seen it in any other console. It's kind of upset. It's kind of a shame. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth trying out the steps that I've done to get this working, because as you can see, it's working fine. Okay, so just a quick video, this one. Hopefully I'll be able to get some time pretty soon to go through the other stuff I got in the job lot. And yeah, that's all I've got for right now, so thanks for watching.